as my rivals at the University of Pittsburgh never fail to gloat, um, phenomenological totalitarians have already deciphered the riddle of what I'm going to be thinking. And what they see as my um, cowardly um, hole digging for peace. I thought I would gratify them by coming out of the closet with my view that what's happened in the Ukraine is an Operation Cahooters in bloodbathing, because the rabid like nothing so much as to see individuals seeking civilization, raising children, caught, as they like to say, between a rock and a hard place. We don't know what happened in Donbass. What we do know is that it's conventional for Americans to be taught to think of Russia as an Ouroboros and a Mobius wrapped in a Zappa hypocrisy. If that's true, that they're unpredictable in fashion, their diet for self advancement around treachery, that makes them not so much Russian as European. And it doesn't seem reasonable or sensible to say that a powerful, because nuclear, but weaker um, overall aspirant to self identity is necessarily incapable of negotiating in its own self interest, but we treated them that way. And now they have a believable text for their actions. I say believable not because I entirely believe it, but because the evidence shows that the argument they're making, which is that the West gave them no alternative and that they acted in desperation, does conform with um, some aspects of responsible analysis of what we polled, which was to isolate them, refuse to respond to their liberalization, refuse to engage the identity of their leadership, learn about their culture, be responsible towards the evidence of violence towards the people in the east of Ukraine who speak Russian, who are loyal to Russia. Um, Various estimates, 13 to 15,000 people were died, many of them murdered. And the strongest suspect is the Ukrainian right wing. Oliver Stone has gone so far as to call them death squads. Now, I allege the hidden transcript. Well, it's not hidden to me. I've read Gail Burst that she was an early progenitor of Trumpy-tuned Putinese, the radical right-wing Klan um, psychopath living in a furrow in Penn Hills. Used to talk about catching someone between a rock and a hard space, and he gave me a nerve agent. That's a very Russian thing to do, but he was a right-wing American. So we know that the letters came from Soviet Jewry. So what Trumpy-Tune was arguing to the Nixons and Reagans was, if Kerry wants peace with socialist society to gain more understanding. My father wrote a book on understanding communism, which was analytical, understanding them by learning about them. It was academic. And it's a free country. There's nothing wrong with learning what people have to say intellectually. Marx can be very beautiful. So he's just looking out for the people who are being crunched underfoot from industries. He's saying, the unions protect workplace safety. They protect equal pay. I mean, it's not, anything to abhor. So he said if Queerball, as they used to call me, wants to understand them, why don't we give them jurisdiction over him? So their idea was on the old 50-50 between Nazism and communism. America is supposed to be standing up for individuals. And now the Ukrainians make this very poignant argument where people were being killed, and you know, then the military sociologists ask, well, that's going on in Africa. What makes you so special? So what we're dealing with is a dialogue between people's self-interest and the idea that people are expendable. And the reason that's not front and center, instead, what's front and center is this stuff about give them $40 billion so they can build back better after the Russian apocalypse and all this stuff. Or help them do the apocalypse, and maybe we can get around to building back better. Or is Joe Manson King Kong, or is he the underbelly of the Republican Party and democracy protecting our sacred filibuster? We should be talking front and center about the dialogue between self interest and expendability, because that's where civilization comes in. People are not expendable. And it's in everybody's interest that the validity of human rights and safety and civil rights are validated. This is why I support the World Health Organization sanctioning of Russia. And it's clear that there's still some sensibility in Russia to be concerned with their place in society. China is a very respectable government. They're thoughtful, intelligent, philosophical people. Russia has turned to them for support. Hopefully, we can find a way out of this. Many of us have begun to lean towards the idea of easing sanctions if Russia performs its duty and allows the grain to get through the embargo to the poor. Joe Biden's tendency is to say performance first, accommodations based on performance. However, it goes, get the grain to the people in Africa. We need to get the grain out of the ports. That's the first and foremost thing. Everyone will be judged by any failure to feed the world with the resources that are available.